What's up, co-reporters? Welcome back to my channel. It's time for a recap of what went down on last night's episode of Teen Mom Next Chapter. Per usual, I use Philo to watch the show. If you too would like to watch the show online or many other shows, use Philo. I've got an affiliate link so that you can sign up for a free trial in the description box down below. Now, before we even get into this recap, let me just say that Brittany and Briana, the way they treated their mom in this episode was so appalling and like just disgusting, to be honest with you. I have so much to say. Like, I understand their frustration, but at the same time, dude, like, I just couldn't deal with the way that they treated her. It was wild. So remember how last week Roxanne revealed to them that she had been taking methadone to help her in her recovery from, a substance dependence? Well, we pick back up in that scene and, she still has her stash out, and she claimed that she started doing these rugs at about Nova's age, which obviously is a symptom of her being a victim to, terrible parents, right? And, she talked about how it all started when she had to shoot up for her dad in his own arm. And then it all kind of snowballed from there. And like the idea that she was doing this at Nova's age, like where you see Nova, she's just like a completely innocent, like, young girl, like it's really, really devastating, right? I gotta say though, that I really do hope that this was a planned storyline similar to Corey and Cheyenne last week with the Christmas or no Christmas in Michigan thing, because if not, like, yikes, that really is quite harsh to spring this on your kids in front of the cameras like that. Similar to the way that she sprang it on Brittany, that her dad all her life wasn't actually her real dad on camera, like, oof. Now, Ashley's, her daughter Holly is swimming in their community pool, and she got kind of made fun of by some of the other kids for wearing a life jacket. Oh, wait, I could relate. No one made fun of me for wearing a life jacket, but like when I saw her in her life jacket, I said, oh, child, that's me this summer. I gotta get my swim lessons on, like, because that's me this summer, y'all. I love a good life jacket at my big old age. And so, she's telling Ashley, like, what's wrong with my swimming? I thought I was a good swimmer. And then they get into that. And Ashley says, listen, don't feel pressured to take off your life jacket before you're ready. We're going to get you swimming lessons, girl. Don't you worry about that. But don't take off your life jacket before you're ready, because the water is deep. It's, even taller than I am. And then Holly goes, really? At your big age? Or no, she says, you're a whole adult. I said, oh, not the kid speaking in TikTok. That's so cute and funny. But she's like, yeah, it's like 8 feet deep, girl. Like, no, we're going to get you lessons, but don't take that off, which I thought was really lovely. And I love the lesson she taught Holly about peer pressure. And I feel, and I always say this, but like Ashley is the best at talking to her kid. Like, she doesn't lecture them. She doesn't speak at them. She's not TED talking these kids. She's not screaming at these kids, acting super irritated by these kids, shout out to, Leah for the lecturing, Jade for the irritation, but like she's just so nice and so patient, and she's so like clear and comprehensive when she speaks to this girl, and I love it so much. Now, also in Florida, Kaz, another great conversation. So McKenzie heads out to quote unquote run some errands, right, to set up the scene. And Kaz is left cooking some curried chicken with her kids, which I love. Y'all know Jamaican food is like the #1 food in the world for me. So I love the way they make their curry chicken, curry goat. Like, I love it. So he's cooking with them. And Bronx is really loving this. He's like, like, we never got to learn how to cook because, my mom was a teen mom. And when you have kids as a kid, like, you don't really know anything. I was like, oh, damn, like, go in, child. Okay. I feel like it's different for everybody, but I digress. And so Cassania is like, you know what, but you guys are teaching me too, because I don't have kids of my own. So I'm learning a lot from being with you guys, which I thought was so sweet. I really, really do love his dynamic with Mackenzie's kids. He seems like a great guy. And then, so after McKenzie comes back from not going anywhere, she receives a letter that just so happened to be left on her door, which I feel like this would have been like a letter that you had to sign for. Like when it's a declaration like that, a legal letter, like you got to sign for that typically. So, or to be served or whatever. And so the letter tells her that she is officially divorced. And so now they start planning to get married and to have children together, which, this is something that they've been talking about for a while in their relationship. Like Cassano, again, he doesn't have kids of his own. He wants them. Mackenzie already has her own kids. And listen, she's in a very complicated situation as a type 1 diabetic, all 3 high-risk pregnancies, tubes tied. Like it seems like a lot for her. If I were Mackenzie, I would have walked away from like someone who wanted kids, like she's already been there, done that. And it's very high risk for her. So she must really love this guy to be like, okay with like putting it all on the line for that. So I have to tell you guys, I laughed in Taylor Selfridge when McKenzie made Cassandra promise that he wasn't going to make her a baby mama and then drag his feet for like 5 years before getting married. And this show, I think it got filmed like just after or during around the time, yeah, just after they came back from like Colombia, where they were shooting Family Reunion, where Taylor was out there crying, begging Snotnose for a ring after like 7 years or something like that. You know, it was like, woo! Even the dog was gay. Look at the dog. He said, "Oh, child." Now, Caitlyn talks to Tyler about like the anxieties that she's facing with her mom and everything like that, the boundaries that she's placing, everything like that. And you can just tell that Tyler is someone who doesn't just go to therapy and talk about going to therapy, like Kale Lowry from Teen Mom 2, right? This is someone who actually learns, absorbs, and moves accordingly. And you can just tell by the way that he advises Kate. Remember, like in a couple episodes ago, she just like sat in the car, let Nova go out in traffic to say hi to her mom because she couldn't even, you know, she just couldn't even like say hello. Tyler's like, Kate, I know you're maintaining your boundaries, but you can say a simple hello to your mom, make things less awkward for our daughter. Like, you can do it. And he said it in a nice, patient way. Then here again, he's helping her, but he's also being like, you know, very realistic and stern and opening her eyes up to like the bigger picture, which I really, really do love. Now, do you guys remember Amber's then fiance, Gary, made an appearance in like episode 1 of Teen Mom Next Chapter, and we hadn't seen him. Well, Gary, the friendly ghost, is back again for his first official moving live action storyline debut. He is cooking dinner for Amber, which is just so crazy now that we know what we know about how things will eventually end between the two of them. He seemed like a nice, doting man, you know, and he seemed like well-adjusted as well, which is crazy because I don't think anyone well-adjusted would end up with Amber Portwood, but I digress. So they eat their little dinner, and then afterwards, her friend comes over and he leaves. And Amber, or I think it's the next day, and Amber's like, oh, the relationship's going super well. Like, I'm really happy with him. But Gary experienced my first manic episode, which is where I black out in like, I think it's rage. Typically for Amber, it's rage. I don't know if it's the same for everyone with borderline personality, but that's what it is for her. And I'm like, ooh, like, I think that was the first thing for him where he's like, actually, like, I'm slowly gonna nope out of this potentially. But then again, he proposed to her, or he allegedly proposed to her. We never saw a ring for proof of that, but yeah, like, oh Lord. Now, she tells her friend that she and Gary are about to start couples therapy. I'm like, y'all have been dating for like 2-3 months and you're about to do couples therapy. Like, that is too much. Like, no, it's too much. It's like you're not even past the like initial honeymoon, getting to know each other stage, and you're already up to this. Like, to me, that already tells you that this is not a great relationship for you. But I digress. Some people like mess, some people like drama, some people like problems. So who am I to deprive them of all of that, right? So you know how McKenzie and Kaz said that they were going to start, you know, their family plannings, looking into untying Mackenzie's tubes and everything like that. They sit down with a nurse practitioner at a fertility clinic, and they find out some kind of like sad news, which is basically if they untie her tube, there's only a 20% chance of her getting pregnant. Like, you know, after that, like IVF is the better thing for them to do. And they don't even need to untie her tubes for that. And that has a 60% success rate. So McKenzie, I don't know if you guys follow her on social media or not, but she actually had shown that like they did some egg retrievals and everything like that. So they really truly are underway in this kind of process that they have set up for and everything like that. And, I don't know if you guys noticed it, but McKenzie seems so anxious during that meeting. Like, and you know, I kind of started wondering that this whole episode. I'm like, is it anxiety or is it something else? Because she's just like this. She's so fidgety. She's like, so what are the percent? Have you worked with diabetics? You know, and she's just moving so like erratically and stuff. It reminded me of like Denise Richards when she was on that season of RHOBH most recently, where she got chewed up by Erica and she had her jacket on upside down. That, like, she was just so much. And I'm like, you know, I feel like it's because she's uncomfortable, but she loves this guy so much that she's going to put herself in quite literal danger to have a baby for him, even though she closed up shop and she was done and everything like that, you know? And so she asks about like, you know, if this person has worked with type 1 diabetics. And then, yes, the nurse practitioner has experience with people like McKenzie. And then she gives like levels of like sugar that should like stay between. but McKenzie's levels are typically much higher. So it's not looking like a great idea. But again, listen, she loves this man and she wants to have his babies. So there we go. Now, in Las Vegas, which is where Ashley now lives with her daughter. Remember how Holly was having the life jacket convo? Well, Ashley says, okay, now it's time for me to hold up my end of the bargain and put you in swimming classes. So I really, really loved this segment, you guys. Like, Ashley talks about like Holly breaking stereotypes of Black girls or Black people not knowing how to swim and stuff, and just, don't want to get your hair wet, this, that, and the other. I was like, yeah, girl, go tell it. Like, it was so, so nice. Like, let me go get my swim lessons on. I've been putting them off for so long, but I really do have to. I'm planning to go to Montenegro when I finish with my trip in Canada. And I want to go back to Croatia as well. It's just next door. And I want to go to Albania. And these places have such beautiful beaches. And like, oh, I don't want to wear a life jacket anymore. So thank you, Holly. Thank you, Ashley. Let's do this, girls. And so actually, Ashley had a conversation with her mom. And so it turns out that Ashley knows how to swim and everything like that. But I don't know. I'm like, okay, girl, like, why aren't you pushing this? I don't know. Because I always thought, like, if you know how to swim, then your kids, you'll teach them how to swim like earlier. You know what I mean? But I guess maybe she's anxious that way, because the idea of teaching a kid how to swim is so scary to me, so she just wanted to pass it off to professionals, which I totally, totally get. So, okay, let's get into how Brittany and Briana really, truly pissed me off when it came to their treatment of Roxanne, who is struggling with addiction, and it has just opened up to them about it. They didn't know she was doing rugs or anything like that. Like, she told them out of her own mouth. And then when she told them, hang on, let me pull up her stash of methadone. And when she told them, she said, listen, this is like an amazing thing that I have enough for a month. It means that I have been in secret, without y'all knowing, I have been working my butt off to prove to the center that I am capable of being entrusted with a stash for a month to help keep me sober. So that is, in my opinion, something to applaud, right? And then not only that, but what happens? She calls up Briana to announce to her that she is going to a women's center. And I think it's also like a rehab thing about trauma and addiction and everything like that, right? And isn't that amazing that Roxanne did this on her own? She's paying it on her own, and she's leaving like immediately. So she does not back out. And this is the first time she's ever had anything like this, right? Because you know who I'm thinking of? I'm thinking of Jade's parents. I'm thinking of Tyler's father. I'm thinking of Leah's father, all these people who have to be begged for years to go to rehab or something, and who won't do it, or who come to their children like begging for money to be able to do it, right? Roxanne did this on her own, okay? And like, that is amazing in and of itself. And so she calls up Briana, you would expect support, I would, right? And then Briana cops an attitude with her. She's like, you have to promise that you're going to complete it, or you're not going to be around me, Brittany, or my kids. I was like, girl, why would you say that to her? This is a moment of you encouraging her. Why would you like cut her down like that? Like, that was just so nasty and rude for no reason. Just like when Brittany told her, oh, you're not going to come to my wedding if you don't. It's like, she's working on it. She has opened up to you guys. She showed you the things she's already done to get to the point that she's at, trusted with a month supply of treatment medication. She has signed herself up for a rehab. She's not asking you for anything but support. And you're over here holding your kids, Briana, and your wedding, Brittany, over her head. For what? For what? I don't get it, you guys. Like, that was crazy to me. Like, how do you issue an ultimatum to someone who has not asked you for something? You didn't even know she was on drugs, you guys. And now all of a sudden you're like, oh, get off them, or you're not doing this. Like, shut up. She's doing this on her own. She's handled it. And that is her goal, to get off it. Not only that, but to deal with the root cause, which is trauma, which is something that she recognizes that she's struggling with. So what is there to chastise her over? I really did not like it. Like, she and Brittany are handling this all so wrong that it's actually painful to watch the way that they are treating their mom. Not cool. I do understand the grapes that they have with Roxanne, absolutely, especially Brittany, right? But because remember, Roxanne threw a glass of water at Brittany in a restaurant. Roxanne also lied to her all her life about who her father was. Like, I get it, but like, the way they're handling this specific situation, not cool. So Caitlyn and her mom, April, decide to seek out therapy, but April wanted it to be in private. And so the therapist who held the session between the two of them did anyone else find it to be like borderline unethical the way that he hopped up after the call or after the meeting to FaceTime Caitlyn recapping the private therapy session between the two of them? I was like, well, one of your people in this session wanted it to be private. The other wants to talk about it. And there's a camera and millions of, not hundreds of people, dozens of people watching. Is that ethical? In my opinion, it's a little unethical because he's like, oh, like, the way you reacted to this, the way, he's not talking about April as much, but he's letting us know what happened by having this conversation on camera. And I, to be honest, it didn't look good to me, in my opinion, but I digress. So basically, Caitlyn tells the therapist that she's not ready to allow April to celebrate Veda's birthday with the entire family, but she's going to allow April an opportunity to celebrate Veda's birthday in private, which I felt like was good. You're not just like, what is it called? Leaving her all the way out and everything like that, because that would lead to depression and that will lead to hitting the bottle again and everything like that. She's trying to compromise, which I do think is, rather nice on her end, as difficult as it is. Now let's get back to Florida, because I forgot to tell you guys that after the way that Briana, scolded her mom for going to rehab, her mom threw the phone on the pavement and everything. And so after we do this weird unethical FaceTime situation, we cut back to Roxanne picking the phone back up off the floor to curse Brittany and Briana out some more. She said, F you and F your sister, blah, blah. I'm calling you. I'm expecting support. And you're over here leveraging the kids against me. And you know what? Team Roxanne, stop it. Stop it. Brianna's like, I'm just trying to protect my kids. Girl, stop. Your mom had you and your kids living in her house all these years. Anytime you wanted to go thought and bop around the world, your mom was looking after the kids. When you wanted to go down to Miami to wipe Jade's ass after her BBL, your mom had your kids. When you took some money, and when you wanted to go chase around Caitlyn's ex-husband up in Delaware, your mom had those kids. When you wanted to chase her other, I can't even say her ex-boyfriend, her other baby daddy, what happened? Your mom had those kids. So stop acting like your mom doesn't do anything for you and the kids and she's not concerned about the kids. Are you concerned about the kids when you do that type of nonsense? Are you concerned about them when you take money that you could be putting towards them to send Kale a treadmill? Are you concerned? Stop it. I really hated that. She's acting like, I got to protect my kids from my mom, blah, blah, blah. I'm a strong set. Girl, stop. Your mom was your baby daddy. She is those kids' daddy. So stop it, And Brittany even told her early on, why are you freaking out? When Briana was freaking out on the phone about the mom going off to rehab the next day, it's a good thing that she's going to rehab. So what are you freaking out for? Just weird. I think Briana was freaking out because now she doesn't have a free babysitter for whatever it is that she's up to, whoever it is she's chasing now or whatever. Just ridiculous. So again, good for you, Roxanne, letting this girl know, why are you acting? Wow, I did not do good with this screen. Hang on, let me zoom in and see what is going on here. I'm looking at the upper teeth. Huh, interesting. So yeah, honestly, it's so hard to get screenshots of these things while they're going. And that's what I love about Philo. Oh, Lord, bless Philo. I can get screenshots again. Oh, they had me suffering on the other website that I was using too, but voila. So yeah, I really didn't like how she was leveraging those kids against her, as if Roxanne doesn't love the kids just as much as Briana does, and as if Roxanne didn't step up, for her in every sense of the word over the years. Obviously, she's doing this not only for herself, but for those kids, Briana. So be quiet, honestly. Now, let's get over to Indiana, shall we? Gary asked Leah for the cameras if she has talked to her alleged mother, Amber, recently. And then Leah says, no, I haven't. She's got a new boyfriend, so she's not going to text anybody. Ouch, ouch, ouch. Listen, Gary, you got to stop putting your daughter through this for the cameras, for some money, for this, for that. You and Christina have had more than enough time to save money. I think you've invested in a lot of properties in your area. You've got your farm. Aren't you selling things from your farm? It's time to pack it up, dude. This is not cool what you're doing to her. And I especially felt it in last week's episode when she had a whole confessional about how her mom ruined her birthday. You got to stop, dude. You got to stop. I know a lot of people go, oh, he's so great, he's really stepped up and blah 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 of Amber. If he's so great, he would get this girl off the show. Let's be honest. And it's so crazy to watch Leah talk about how the mom hasn't reached out to her. Meanwhile, her bum ass mom, what is she doing? She's over there in couples therapy with a man she barely even knows, a man who's about to ghost her in a couple days. It's just so crazy. It really, really is. So like, they're just sitting there talking about like how Amber acts during her manic episodes and how he plays this protector role during those moments and everything like that. And, again, like the juxtaposition between this girl having no contact with this bum and this bum being up here on the couch with some random man, her latest random man that she cursed her daughter out over on her birthday, trying to save a relationship of 45 days or 60 days or however many days it is insane. Why isn't she doing this for her daughter? Just sick, sick, sick. Now, I already said this before, but I'll say it again. Guys, you can just tell that McKenzie, like, she's really anxious about this, as she should be. She risks her life every time she gets pregnant. And the fact that she has to go through this right now, for Cassandra, he seems like a nice guy. I like the way he interacts with her kids and everything like that. But I got to be honest, I think he's selfish for wanting to put McKenzie through this. It's selfish. At a certain point, it's just selfish, in my opinion. But I digress. You can see the reluctance written all over McKenzie's face. And, that just goes to show she understands the gravity of the situation and how risky pregnancy is for her, So, yeah. Now, how Caitlyn said that she was going to have like a compromise for like the birthday party? She's like, I'm not comfortable having my mom here. I'm like, I get it. You don't know how she's going to act in front of other people. She's going to embarrass you. You can't really enjoy the moment because you're tense, wondering how this lady's going to act up, right? Well, tell me why. She's talking about my mom's going to build my trust. Here, take my kids all alone in your house. Caitlyn, you're talking about this woman earning your trust, and you give her the ultimate symbol of all of your trust. This is the final boss of trust, that you leave these kids with this lady unattended in a home that you don't know if there's alcohol in there. You don't know if there's meth in there. You don't know what is in there, dude. And your daughter Nova already told you that she has come in the bathroom to see April passed out drunk in the bathtub. And you go, that's so terrible. I have to have boundaries with my mom. And my boundary is leaving her alone in her home with a bathtub, potential bottles of whatever in there, and my two kids. The girl doesn't make any sense. I truly do not understand. Like, I would prefer for someone like April to come to my home where I know that she will not be drinking anything, because she is under my supervision in my home. This does not make any sense. If this makes sense to you, please tell me where the logic is in the comment section, because I am failing to see it, like, wow, crazy. Now, Ashley had spoken about this with her mom earlier on in the episode about how her daughter, Holly, is someone who loves to advance super quickly. And so she's like, after one swimming lesson, Holly's going to start asking to take off that life jacket and swim in the deep end. And I got to make sure that she knows that, listen, this is just the beginning. Like, you got to keep on taking these lessons. So like clockwork, Holly asked Ashley if she can take off her life jacket the next time. And Ashley's like, no, girl, like, listen. And, she gives Holly the greatest confidence boost about how to react to, like, the kids picking on her and how she's exactly where she needs to be. Everyone advances at their own pace and everything like that. I said, yes. Ashley, give her another bar. Go, go, go. Pun intended or not. Let's talk about it. She's just so, so, so great with her. It really is refreshing. I always love her scenes with Holly. So that was that. Now, Holly left that conversation feeling like, you know what? All right, fine. I will stick with my life jacket. And I know exactly what to tell these kids if they start clucking over my life jacket, Guys, Brittany finally has her own home. And look at how beautiful it is. It is just beautiful. Everything is so green. She's got these gorgeous plants. The house is so blue. It just, if I had to imagine a nice little Florida home, I would imagine this. Absolutely beautiful. Congratulations, Brittany. She's always been such a great aunt to Brianna's kids as well. And so, she just deserves this time to have her own home and just to live her own life. She's engaged. Like, she's just doing, her own life now. And I'm so happy for her. Now, she tells Briana that she doesn't think that she'll ever have a good relationship with Roxanne again, which, again, I understand, given all that Roxanne has done to her, from like the water being thrown onto her to the dad thing being exposed on television for the first time. Like, I don't think I would have a good relationship with Roxanne again if that were my mom either, So speaking of Roxanne, she actually called up Briana to tell her that the treatment program that she's in is going to last about 6 weeks. So she's serious. She means business. Listen, she packed up, she left the next day. She found this all on her own. She doesn't have her hand out like the other teen mom parents. I'm proud of her, and I really hope that this works and that at the end of it, she doesn't feel the dependence that she once felt on the substances that she was using. So good for you, Roxanne. I really hope that this works out. Guys, what did you think about this episode? Like, it's heating up this season of Next Chapter. Like, it's getting good. It really, really is. So let me know what you thought about it. Again, I really was disappointed by the way that Brittany and Briana handled Roxanne's rehab confession. Like, that was a moment to rally around her and encourage her instead of cutting her down and issuing ultimatums. Like, you even knew what she was going through. Like, you even, are the ones who told her you have to stop. Like, you had to beg her to do this. You guys did not have to do a damn thing but support that woman. Anyway, again, I use Philo to watch this and to take these wonderful screenshots. So Philo's kind of like the Netflix of reality TV. And they've got over 70 different channels. And you can also watch it live as it's playing on air for everybody else. Like, that's something else that I love about it. My other streaming services, you have to wait the next day, but this happens live, okay? Let me know what you thought in the comment section down below. And as usual, we'll chat. That's all for now. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great weekend, by the way, and I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.